On my wedding day, I watched my alpha fiancé entwined with another omega. I didn't scream, just turned around and walked away. My white suit felt heavy on my shoulders as I moved through the garden behind the wedding hall. The roses my mother had picked so carefully blurred in my vision. Kai, wait! My best friend June grabbed my arm. His eyes were wide with shock. Did you just see what I saw? I nodded slowly. My throat felt tight, like someone was squeezing it. I saw everything, June, Marcus, and Liam. June's face turned red with anger. That piece of trash. On your wedding day. With your ex-boyfriend. That was the worst part. Liam wasn't just any omega. He was my first love, the person I had dated for 3 years before Marcus came into my life. When Liam left me 2 years ago, saying he needed to find himself, I was broken. Marcus had picked up those pieces. Or so I thought. The guests are waiting inside, I said quietly. My voice sounded strange even to my own ears. 300 people are sitting in that hall, waiting for me to marry him. June squeezed my hand. Kai, you don't have to do anything. We can cancel it right now. I'll tell everyone the wedding is off. But I couldn't move. My legs felt like stone. I had spent 2 years with Marcus. He was perfect on paper. An alpha from a good family, successful, kind to everyone around him. My parents loved him. My friends approved of him. The bond between us was supposed to be announced today, making our relationship permanent in the eyes of Omega and Alpha society. Why? I whispered. Why would he do this? Because he's an idiot, June said fiercely. Kai, listen to me. You deserve so much better than this. The garden gate opened, and Marcus appeared. His black suit was slightly wrinkled now. His dark hair was messy. Guilt was written all over his face. Behind him, Liam stood with tears running down his cheeks. Kai, please, Marcus started. I can explain. I held up my hand. Something inside me felt cold and clear. Explain what, Marcus? Explain why you were kissing my ex-boyfriend an hour before our wedding? Explain why you've apparently been seeing him behind my back. Marcus flinched. It's not what you think. Then what is it? My voice came out stronger now. Tell me the truth. For once, just tell me the truth. Liam stepped forward. His blue eyes, the ones I used to love, were filled with regret. Kai, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I came back to town last month and I realized I made a mistake leaving you. I contacted Marcus to ask about you and we started talking, and you decided to betray me together. I finished. How romantic. Marcus reached for me, but I stepped back. Kai, I do care about you. I really do. But when Liam came back, all these old feelings came up. We have history, he and I. I stared at him. History? What history? You told me you barely knew him when I introduced you 2 years ago. The silence that followed was deafening. June gasped beside me. Even Liam looked surprised. You lied to me from the start? I asked slowly. Marcus's face went pale. Kai, answer me. I demanded. Did you know Liam before I introduced you? Were you two together? We dated in college, Liam admitted quietly. Before you and I met. Marcus and I broke up badly, and when I met you, I didn't know you two knew each other. By the time I realized Marcus was your friend, I was already in love with you. I chose you, Kai. I really did choose you. My world was spinning. Nothing made sense anymore. So this whole time, my boyfriend and my best friend's recommendation, my perfect alpha fiancé, was actually my boyfriend's ex? And nobody thought to tell me? June pulled me closer. Let's get out of here, Kai. Right now. But I had one more question. Marcus, did you ever love me? Or was I just a replacement until Liam came back? Marcus opened his mouth, closed it, then looked away. That was all the answer I needed. I turned to June, take me away from here. Anywhere but here. As we walked away, I heard Liam calling my name. I heard Marcus trying to explain. But I didn't look back. My wedding day was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, it became the day I learned that everything I believed was a lie. The morning sun was bright and cheerful, completely wrong for how I felt. Guests would be wondering where the groom was. My parents would be worried. But right now I needed to breathe. I needed to think. I needed to figure out how to put myself back together again. June guided me to his car. "I'm taking you to my place. You can stay there as long as you need." I nodded, still numb. As we drove away from the wedding venue, I caught one last glimpse of Marcus standing in the garden, his hand reaching out toward nothing. Good, I thought. Let him feel empty for once. June's apartment was small but cozy. He made me sit on his couch while he brought me tea. My white wedding suit felt like a costume now, something that belonged to a different person's life. "I called your mom," June said gently. "I told her you needed time and that the wedding was postponed. She's upset, but she understands." I laughed bitterly. "Postponed? June, there's no wedding. There never will be." He sat beside me. "I know, but I had to tell her something." The guests were already starting to arrive when we left. My phone had been buzzing nonstop in my pocket. I finally pulled it out and saw dozens of messages. From my parents, from friends, from relatives, and 15 missed calls from Marcus. "He won't stop calling," I muttered. "Block him," June suggested. "Block them both." "I can't just block them. I need to understand what happened. I need answers." June sighed. "Kai, some people don't deserve your time or energy. Marcus showed you exactly who he is today. Believe him." But I couldn't let it go. 2 years of my life had been a lie. I needed to know why. I needed to know when it started. I needed to know if anything between Marcus and me had been real. "I'm going to change," I said, standing up. "Can I borrow some clothes?" June nodded and showed me to his bedroom. I peeled off the expensive wedding suit and changed into a simple t-shirt and jeans. In the mirror, I looked different. Younger, maybe, or just more lost. When I came back to the living room, June was on his phone, his face serious. "What's wrong?" I asked. "It's all over social media," he said quietly. "Someone posted about the wedding being canceled. People are talking." My stomach dropped. "What are they saying?" June hesitated. "Some people think you got cold feet. Others heard rumors about Marcus and Liam. It's messy, Kai." I sat down heavily. Of course it would spread. In our society, Omega and Alpha bonds were important. A canceled wedding, especially one this big, would be gossip for months. "My reputation is ruined," I whispered. "No," June said firmly. "Marcus's reputation is ruined. He's the one who cheated. He's the one who lied. You did nothing wrong." But in Omega society, things didn't work that way. People would whisper that I wasn't good enough to keep my alpha. They would say I must have done something wrong. They would pity me, and pity was worse than anger. A knock on the door made us both jump. June went to answer it while I stayed frozen on the couch. "Absolutely not," I heard June say. "You have some nerve showing up here. Please, I just need 5 minutes with Kai." That was Marcus's voice. 5 minutes to explain. "He doesn't want to hear your excuses," June shot back. "It's okay," I called out. I stood up and walked to the door. "Let him in, June." June looked at me like I was crazy, but he stepped aside. Marcus walked in, looking terrible. His eyes were red, his suit was wrinkled, and he looked like he hadn't slept in days, even though it had only been a few hours. "Kai," he breathed. "Thank you for seeing me." "I'm not doing this for you," I said coldly. "I'm doing this for me. I need answers, and then I never want to see you again." Marcus nodded quickly. "Anything. Ask me anything." June crossed his arms and stood protectively beside me. I was grateful for his presence. "When did it start?" I asked. "When did you start seeing Liam again?" Marcus swallowed hard. "He contacted me 5 weeks ago. He said he was back in town and wanted to catch up. First, it was innocent. We just talked. But then you remembered you loved him more than me," I finished. "No," Marcus said desperately. "It wasn't like that. I do love you, Kai. I really do. But Liam and I have this history. We broke up because of a misunderstanding years ago, and when he came back, all those old feelings returned. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. So you decided to have both of us?" I asked bitterly. I never meant to hurt you, Marcus said. I kept thinking I could figure it out. I kept thinking I could choose. But the truth is, I was a coward. I couldn't make a decision, so I hurt everyone. June made a disgusted sound. You're pathetic. Marcus ignored him and focused on me. Kai, please, give me another chance. I'll cut off all contact with Liam. I'll do whatever it takes. We can still make this work. I stared at him. Part of me wanted to believe him. Part of me wanted to go back to yesterday when I still thought I was getting married to someone who loved me. But I couldn't. No, I said simply. Marcus's face crumbled. Kai, you don't get it, do you? I interrupted. This isn't just about you kissing Liam. This is about trust. You lied to me from the very beginning. You pretended you didn't know him when we met. You kept this huge secret for 2 years. How can I ever trust you again? I'll earn it back, Marcus promised. I'll spend every day proving that I'm worthy of your trust. I don't want you to, I said. My voice was quiet but firm. Marcus, I release you from our bond agreement. Consider yourself free. In Omega society, those words were final. Once an Omega released an Alpha from their bond, there was no going back. It was over. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. Don't do this. Please, Kai. I love you. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this, I said. Now please leave. I have nothing more to say to you. June opened the door pointedly. Marcus stood there for a long moment, looking at me like he wanted to memorize my face. Then he turned and walked out. As soon as the door closed, my legs gave out. June caught me and helped me back to the couch. You did the right thing, he said softly. Then why does it hurt so much? I whispered. June had no answer for that. He just held me while I finally let myself cry. My wedding day was supposed to be a beginning. Instead, it was an ending, and I had no idea what came next. 3 weeks passed like a blur. I moved out of the apartment Marcus and I had shared and temporarily stayed with June. My parents called every day, worried about me. Friends sent messages of support, but I could hear the pity in their words. I took a leave from my job at the design firm. My boss, an understanding beta woman, told me to take all the time I needed, but I was starting to go crazy sitting in June's apartment all day. You need to get out, June said one Saturday morning. Let's go to that new cafe downtown, the one that just opened. I wanted to say no, but June was right. I couldn't hide forever. The cafe was beautiful. It had large windows, hanging plants, and the smell of fresh coffee filled the air. We found a table by the window, and for the first time in weeks, I felt almost normal. This is nice, I admitted. June smiled. See, the world hasn't ended. Life goes on. I was about to respond when the door opened and someone walked in. My breath caught in my throat. He was tall, with silver hair and dark eyes. He wore a simple black shirt and jeans, but he moved with natural grace. And his scent, it was different, calming, like rain and cedar wood. That's an alpha, June whispered, noticing where I was looking. A strong one too. I can feel it from here. The man ordered coffee and turned around. Our eyes met for just a second. Something electric passed between us. Then he looked away and left the cafe with his order. Did you feel that? June asked quietly. I nodded, confused. What was that? I don't know, but that was intense. Even I felt it, and I'm a beta. I tried to shake it off, but that brief moment stayed with me. The alpha's eyes had been kind but also sad, like he understood pain. Forget about it, I told myself. You just got out of a relationship. The last thing you need is another alpha. But fate had other plans. The next day, I decided to go for a walk in the park near June's apartment. I needed fresh air and time to think. The park was quiet in the morning with just a few joggers and dog walkers. I sat on a bench under a large tree and closed my eyes, enjoying the peaceful moment. Then I heard footsteps approaching. Is this seat taken? I opened my eyes and almost fell off the bench. It was him, the silver-haired alpha from the cafe. No, I managed to say. It's free. He sat down, keeping a respectful distance between us. I'm Ryu, he said. I saw you at the cafe yesterday. Kai, I replied. My heart was beating fast. You noticed me? Ryu smiled slightly. It's hard not to notice someone who looks so sad. I didn't know whether to be offended or touched by his honesty. That obvious, huh? Only to someone who's been there, Ryu said. He looked out at the park. I used to come here every day after my bond broke. This bench was my thinking spot. I looked at him with new interest. You were bonded? For 5 years, Ryu said quietly. My partner. He passed away 2 years ago. Illness. My chest tightened with sympathy. I'm so sorry. Ryu nodded. Thank you. It was hard. It still is some days. But I've learned that life continues, even when you think it won't. We sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Felt strange, talking to a stranger about such personal things. But there was something about Ryu that made it easy. My wedding was canceled 3 weeks ago, I found myself saying. My fiancé was cheating on me with my ex-boyfriend. Ryu turned to look at me. On your wedding day? Actually, I caught them an hour before the ceremony, I said with a bitter laugh. Great timing, right? His loss, Ryu said simply. I looked at him surprised. You don't even know me. I know enough, Ryu said. I know you're strong enough to walk away from someone who hurt you. I know you're brave enough to sit alone in a park, working through your pain instead of hiding from it. That's more than most people can say. His words made my throat tight. I don't feel strong. I feel broken. Broken things can heal, Ryu said gently. Sometimes they even heal stronger than before. A dog ran past us, chasing a ball, and we both smiled at its joy. The moment felt light, easier than I expected. Do you come here often? I asked. Every morning, Ryu said. I run, then sit here for a while before work. What do you do? I'm a veterinarian, Ryu said. I have a clinic on the east side of town. That explained his calming presence. People who worked with animals had a special gentleness about them. That sounds nice, I said. Better than my job. I'm a graphic designer. Was a graphic designer. I'm on leave right now. Take your time, Ryu advised. Healing can't be rushed. We talked for another hour. About small things, safe things. Books we liked, places we wanted to travel, favorite foods. It felt good to just talk to someone who didn't pity me or treat me like I was fragile. When Ryu finally stood to leave, he hesitated. Can I see you again? Maybe we could have coffee sometime. My first instinct was to say no. I wasn't ready for anything. But Ryu wasn't asking for anything serious. He was just offering friendship, and I realized I needed that. Okay, I said. Coffee sounds good. Ryu smiled, and it transformed his whole face. Tomorrow? Same cafe. Tomorrow, I agreed. As I watched him walk away, June's words from the cafe echoed in my mind. Something about Ryu felt different. Safe. Like maybe, just maybe, not all alphas were like Marcus. I stood up from the bench and headed home, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Maybe June was right. Life did go on. And maybe, just maybe, there was something good waiting for me on the other side of this pain. I spent way too long deciding what to wear to coffee with Ryu. It was just coffee, I told myself. Nothing serious. But my hands were shaking as I pulled on a blue sweater that June said made my eyes look brighter. You're nervous, June observed from his couch. That's good. It means you're feeling something again. I'm not nervous, I lied. I'm just meeting a friend for coffee. June grinned. A very handsome alpha friend who looked at you like you were the only person in that cafe. He did not. I protested, but my cheeks felt warm. Whatever helps you sleep at night, June teased. Now go. Don't keep him waiting. The cafe was crowded when I arrived. I scanned the room and found Ryu sitting at the same table by the window. He waved when he saw me, and my nervousness eased slightly. Hi, I said, sitting down across from him. Hi, Ryu replied. I ordered you a vanilla latte. I hope that's okay. You were looking at the vanilla syrup yesterday, so I guessed. I was touched that he'd noticed. That's perfect, actually. Thank you. The latte arrived, and we fell into easy conversation. Ryu told me about his clinic, about the pets he treated. He spoke with such passion that I couldn't help smiling. "You really love your work," I observed. "I do," Ryu admitted. "Animals don't lie or pretend. They're honest about what they feel. I appreciate that." There was something deeper in his words. I wanted to ask but wasn't sure if I should. Ryu seemed to sense my curiosity. My late partner, Hiro, he wasn't honest with me about how sick he was. He hid it for months because he didn't want me to worry. By the time I found out, it was too late to do anything. My heart ached for him. "That must have been horrible." "It was," Ryu said quietly. "I was angry at him for a long time. Angry that he didn't trust me enough to share his burden. Angry that he chose to suffer alone. But eventually I understood. He did it out of love, even if it was misguided." "Do you still miss him?" I asked softly. "Every day," Ryu said. "But it's different now. The pain isn't as sharp. I can remember the good times without falling apart. That's healing, I guess." I stirred my latte, thinking about Marcus. How long did it take to heal? Ryu considered the question. "Honestly, I'm still healing. I don't think it ever completely ends. You just learn to carry it better. But if you're asking when it stopped hurting so much I couldn't breathe, about a year. A year. I had so far to go." "Hey," Ryu said gently. "Everyone's journey is different. Don't compare your timeline to mine." "How did you know I was doing that?" I asked. "Because I did the same thing," Ryu said with a small smile. "I kept asking other people how long it took them to move on, as if there was some magic number. But healing doesn't work like that." We talked for 2 hours. About everything and nothing. Ryu told me about growing up as the youngest of 4 siblings. I told him about my dream of opening my own design studio someday. He was easy to talk to, and I found myself laughing more than I had in months. "Can I ask you something?" Ryu said as we were getting ready to leave. "Sure. Your ex-fiancé. Have you spoken to him since that day?" I shook my head. "No. He tried calling and texting for the first week, but I blocked him. I have nothing to say to him." "What about closure?" Ryu asked carefully. "Some people need that final conversation. Do you think I need it?" I asked. Ryu was quiet for a moment. "I think only you can answer that. But in my experience, closure comes from within. You can't get it from the person who hurt you." His words made sense. I had been waiting for Marcus to say something that would make it all better, but nothing he could say would change what happened. "You're right," I said. "I keep hoping he'll give me some explanation that makes sense. But the truth is, there isn't one. He just chose someone else." "Then he's a fool," Ryu said firmly. "Anyone who had your love and threw it away is a complete fool." My breath caught. The way Ryu looked at me made my stomach flip. There was something in his eyes, something warm and genuine. "Ryu," I started, not sure what I wanted to say. "It's okay," Ryu said quickly. "I'm not trying to pressure you or make things complicated. I just want you to know that you're worth so much more than how he treated you." Before I could respond, my phone rang. It was my mother. I'd been avoiding her calls, but I couldn't anymore. "I should take this," I said apologetically. "Of course. I'll see you soon," Ryu asked hopefully. "Yes," I said, and realized I meant it. "I'd like that." I answered my mother's call as Ryu left. "Hi, Mom." "Kai." "Sweetie, how are you?" My mother's voice was full of worry. "I'm okay, Mom. Really. Your father and I want you to come home for dinner tonight. We need to talk about some things." My stomach tensed. "What things?" "Just come home, please. 6 o'clock. She hung up before I could argue. I had a bad feeling about this dinner, but I couldn't avoid my parents forever. June was waiting when I got back to his apartment. "How was it?" "Good," I admitted. "Really good, actually. Ryu is... he's nice." "Nice?" June raised an eyebrow. "That's the best you can do?" I laughed. "Okay, fine. He's interesting and kind and easy to talk to." "Happy?" "Very," June said. "Now, what's wrong? You have that worried look." "My mom called. They want me to come to dinner tonight." June's expression grew serious. Do you want me to come with you? No, I should face them alone. But thanks for offering. That evening, I drove to my parents' house. My childhood home looked the same as always, but I felt different walking up to the door. My mother opened it before I could knock. Kai, she said, pulling me into a tight hug. I've been so worried. I'm fine, Mom, I said, hugging her back. My father was waiting in the dining room. He looked older than I remembered, with new gray hair at his temples. Son, he said, standing to embrace me. Good to see you. We sat down to dinner, but the tension was thick. Finally, my father cleared his throat. Kai, we need to discuss what happened with Marcus. There's nothing to discuss, I said firmly. It's over. Marcus came to see us, my mother said gently. He explained everything. About Liam. About the confusion he felt. I put down my fork. He came to see you? He's devastated, Kai, my father said. He made a terrible mistake, but he wants to make it right. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you seriously asking me to forgive him? We're asking you to consider it, my mother said. Marcus comes from a good family. The bond between your families would be beneficial for everyone. And mistakes happen. People deserve second chances. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. No, Kai, be reasonable, my father said. I am being reasonable, I said, my voice shaking. Marcus betrayed me. He lied to me for 2 years. And you want me to take him back because it's convenient for the family? My mother reached for my hand. Sweetie, we just want what's best for you. No, I said, pulling away. You want what's best for the family name. But I'm done caring about that. I'm done pretending. If you can't support my decision, then I don't know what else to say. I walked out of the house, my heart pounding. I had never stood up to my parents like that before. It felt terrifying and freeing at the same time. As I drove back to June's place, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Ryu. Hope dinner went okay. Here if you need to talk. Something warm spread through my chest. I typed back, dinner was terrible, but I'm okay. Thank you for checking. His reply came immediately. You're stronger than you think, Kai. I smiled through my tears. Maybe Ryu was right. Maybe I was stronger than I thought. And maybe, just maybe, I was ready to start believing it. The next few weeks brought unexpected changes. I went back to work, throwing myself into new design projects. My co-workers were kind enough not to mention the wedding, though I caught sympathetic glances in the break room. Ryu and I met for coffee 3 times a week. Then it became 4 times. Then almost daily. We never called them dates, but they felt like something more than friendship. He made me laugh. He listened when I needed to talk. And slowly, I felt pieces of myself coming back together. I think you should get your own place, June said one evening. Not because I want you to leave, but because you need your own space, your own fresh start. He was right. Living with June had been wonderful, but I needed independence. I needed to prove to myself that I could stand on my own. I found a small apartment on the west side of town. It had big windows, a tiny balcony, and it was completely mine. Moving day was chaos, but Ryu showed up with his truck to help. You didn't have to do this, I said as he carried another box up the stairs. I know, Ryu said, flashing me that smile that made my heart race. I wanted to. By evening, most of my things were unpacked. June ordered pizza, and the 3 of us sat on my new living room floor, eating and laughing. To new beginnings, June said, raising his soda can. To new beginnings, Ryu and I echoed, clinking our cans together. After June left, Ryu stayed to help me arrange the furniture. We worked in comfortable silence, and I found myself watching him. The way he moved, the way he carefully placed each item exactly where I wanted it. He was patient and thoughtful, so different from Marcus. Ryu, I said suddenly, why are you doing all this? He stopped and looked at me. What do you mean? The coffee dates, helping me move, being there whenever I need someone. Why? Ryu set down the lamp he was holding. Do you really not know? My heart started beating faster. I I have an idea, but I need to hear you say it. He walked closer until we were just a foot apart. I care about you, Kai. A lot. From that first moment in the cafe, I felt something. I know the timing isn't great. I know you're healing. But I can't pretend I don't have feelings for you. I should have been scared. I should have backed away. But instead, I felt relief. I have feelings for you too, I admitted. And that terrifies me. Why? Ryu asked gently. Because what if I'm wrong again? What if I'm making another mistake? What if you hurt me like Marcus did? Ryu took my hands in his. I can't promise I'll never hurt you. People hurt each other sometimes, even when they don't mean to. But I can promise I'll always be honest. I'll never lie to you or hide things from you. And I'll never, ever betray your trust. Tears filled my eyes. How can you be so sure? Because I know what it's like to lose someone you love, Ryu said. Life's too short for games and lies. If I'm with someone, I'm all in. No secrets. No confusion. I looked into his eyes and saw only sincerity. I'm still healing, Ryu. I'm not whole yet. That's okay, he said softly. I'm not asking you to be whole. I'm just asking you to give this a chance. We'll take it slow. No pressure. No expectations. Just see where it goes. Okay, I whispered. Let's see where it goes. Ryu smiled and pulled me into a hug. I buried my face in his chest, breathing in his calming scent. For the first time since my wedding day, I felt like maybe everything would be okay. But of course, life had other plans. The next morning, I was at the grocery store when I literally ran into someone. My cart crashed into theirs and apples rolled everywhere. I'm so sorry, I said, bending down to pick them up. It's okay. These things happen, a familiar voice said. I looked up and froze. It was Liam. He looked different, thinner, paler. His blue eyes had dark circles under them. Kai, he said quietly. Hi. I stood up, clutching the apples. Liam. We stood there awkwardly for a moment. Part of me wanted to walk away, but another part of me needed answers that I'd never gotten. Can we talk? Liam asked. Please? Just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I nodded. We moved to a quiet corner of the store, away from other shoppers. I owe you an apology, Liam started. A real one, not the pathetic excuse I gave you at the wedding. Okay, I said, crossing my arms. I'm listening. Liam took a deep breath. When I left you 2 years ago, it wasn't because I needed to find myself. It was because I was scared. Scared of how much I loved you. Scared of commitment. So I ran. And it was the biggest mistake of my life. So you came back and decided to ruin my wedding? I asked coldly. No, Liam said quickly. I came back because my mother was sick. She lives here. I didn't even know you and Marcus were together until I contacted him about you. And when he told me you were engaged, I should have backed off. But I was selfish. I convinced myself that you still belonged with me. I never belonged to you, I said. And I certainly don't now. I know, Liam said miserably. Kai, I'm not here to ask for another chance. I know I burned that bridge. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. Truly sorry. What Marcus and I did was unforgivable. I studied his face. He looked genuinely remorseful. Are you and Marcus together now? Liam shook his head. No. He chose you. Even after everything, he wanted you back. But I told him he was an idiot for hurting you in the first place. That surprised me. You told him that? I did, Liam said. Because it's true. You deserved better than both of us. For a moment, I felt sorry for him. He looked lost and regretful. But my sympathy only went so far. Thank you for apologizing, I said. It doesn't change anything, but I appreciate it. Are you happy? Liam asked. I heard you're seeing someone new. Small town gossip. Of course people were talking. I'm getting there, I said honestly. It's been hard, but I'm healing. Liam smiled sadly. Good. You deserve to be happy, Kai. I hope he treats you better than we did. He does, I said simply. We said goodbye, and I watched Liam walk away. I felt Nothing. No anger, no sadness. Just a quiet acceptance that this chapter of my life was truly over. When I got home, Ryu was waiting outside my apartment with coffee and pastries. "Thought you might need these," he said. "How did you know?" I asked. "June called me. Said you ran into Liam at the store." I laughed. "June needs to stop spying on me." "He cares about you," Ryu said. "We both do." I unlocked my door and let us inside. As we sat on my couch, eating pastries and drinking coffee, I told Ryu about my conversation with Liam. "How do you feel?" Ryu asked when I finished. "Relieved," I admitted. "I think I finally have closure. Not from his apology, but from realizing that I don't need anything from him anymore. That part of my life is over." Ryu took my hand. "And this part is just beginning." I smiled and leaned my head on his shoulder. "I like this part much better." "Me too," Ryu said softly. "Me too." Everything felt perfect for 3 months. Ryu and I grew closer every day. We went on real dates now, dinner and movies and walks in the park. He met my friends, who all approved of him. Even June, who was suspicious of all alphas after what Marcus did, liked Ryu. "He's good for you," June said one day. "You're smiling again." Really smiling. I was smiling. I was happy. But somewhere in the back of my mind, a tiny voice kept whispering that it was too good to be true. That voice got louder one Friday evening. I was at Ryu's apartment helping him cook dinner. His place was cozy, filled with plants and photos of him with animals from his clinic. I felt at home there. "Kai," Ryu said as he stirred the pasta. "There's something I need to tell you." The way he said it made my stomach drop. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong," he said quickly. "But I have to go away for a while. My brother in Tokyo is getting married, and I need to be there for the ceremony and family events. I'll be gone for 2 weeks. "Oh," I said, relief washing over me. "That's not bad at all. 2 weeks will go by fast." Ryu nodded, but he looked troubled. "There's more. My family, they've been pressuring me about rebonding. They think it's been long enough since Hiro passed. They want me to meet some suitable Omegas while I'm there." My chest tightened. "Suitable Omegas?" "My mother has already arranged some meetings," Ryu said, looking uncomfortable. "I told her I'm seeing someone, but she doesn't understand. In her mind, if we're not officially bonded, it doesn't count." "Do you want to meet these Omegas?" I asked quietly. "No," Ryu said firmly. He took my hands. "Kai, you're the only one I want. But I can't just skip my brother's wedding because my mother is being pushy. And I need to respect my family's traditions, even if I don't agree with all of them." I understood, but it still hurt. "What if you go there and realize you want someone else? Someone who doesn't have all my baggage?" "You don't have baggage," Ryu said. "You have a past like everyone else. And I wouldn't change anything about you." We talked more that night, and Ryu reassured me a dozen times. But when I went home, doubt crept in. What if his family convinced him that I wasn't good enough? What if meeting other Omegas made him realize he could do better? The next 2 weeks were torture. Ryu called every day, sent pictures and messages. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was going to go wrong. June noticed my anxiety. "You're spiraling," he said bluntly. "Ryu loves you. He's not going to suddenly change his mind." "You don't know that," I argued. "People change their minds all the time. Marcus did." "Ryu isn't Marcus," June said firmly. "Stop comparing them." But I couldn't help it. The fear was too strong. Then one night I made a mistake. I was lonely and anxious, and my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Kai, it's Marcus. Please don't delete this. I just want to talk. Can we meet for coffee? Just once. I need to say some things." I should have deleted it. I should have blocked the number. But instead, I found myself typing, "Fine. Tomorrow at noon. The cafe near June's place." I told myself I was just getting closure. I told myself it meant nothing. But deep down, I knew I was making a mistake. The next day, I sat in the cafe waiting for Marcus. When he walked in, I barely recognized him. He'd lost weight, and his eyes looked tired. Kai, he said, sitting down. Thank you for agreeing to see me. Let's make this quick, I said coldly. What do you want? Marcus took a deep breath. I want to apologize. Really apologize. Not the half-hearted excuse I gave before. I was wrong, Kai. About everything. Lying to you about Liam. Cheating on you, hurting you. I was selfish and stupid. And I'm so sorry. I sat back in my chair. Okay, you've apologized. We're done here. Wait, Marcus said desperately. There's more. I'm not asking you to take me back. I know that's impossible. But I heard you're with someone new, and I needed to tell you something about him. My blood ran cold. What about him? His name is Ryu, right? Silver hair? Runs a vet clinic? Marcus said. When I nodded, he continued. Kai, I did some research. His late partner, Hiro, didn't just die from illness. He killed himself. I stood up so fast my chair fell over. You're lying. I'm not, Marcus said. I'm sorry, but you deserve to know the truth. Hiro suffered from severe depression. He took his own life 2 years ago. Ryu found him. I felt like the ground was disappearing under my feet. Why are you telling me this? Because I care about you, Marcus said. I know I have no right to, but I do. And I don't want you to get hurt again. You should know the full story before you get too involved. I grabbed my bag and ran out of the cafe. My mind was spinning. Was Marcus telling the truth? Why hadn't Ryu told me? What else was he hiding? I went straight to Ryu's clinic even though I knew he was still in Tokyo. I needed answers. His assistant, a kind beta woman, looked surprised to see me. Kai, Ryu isn't back until tomorrow, she said. I know. Can I ask you something? About Hiro? Her expression changed immediately. What about him? How did he die? I asked directly. She hesitated, then sighed. Ryu should tell you this himself. Please, I begged. I need to know. She looked around to make sure no one was listening. Hiro struggled with depression for years. Ryu tried everything to help him, therapy, medication, everything. But in the end, Hiro made his choice. Ryu found him in their apartment. It nearly destroyed him. I felt sick. Why didn't Ryu tell me? Because it's painful, she said gently. And because people judge. They assume Ryu did something wrong or didn't love Hiro enough. But that's not true. Ryu loved him with everything he had. Sometimes love isn't enough to save someone from their own darkness. I thanked her and left. My head was pounding. I understood why Ryu didn't tell me, but I felt betrayed anyway. He'd kept something huge from me, just like Marcus did. When Ryu came back the next day, I was waiting at his apartment. Kai, he said happily, dropping his suitcase to hug me. I missed you so much. I didn't hug him back. We need to talk. His smile faded. What's wrong? Why didn't you tell me about Hiro? I asked. About how he really died. Ryu went pale. How did you find out? Does it matter? I asked. You lied to me, Ryu. You said he died from illness. It was an illness, Ryu said quietly. Depression is an illness. Mental health is health. You know what I mean? I said, my voice breaking. You kept something huge from me, just like Marcus did. No, Ryu said firmly. It's not the same thing at all. I didn't lie to hurt you or hide something that affected our relationship. I didn't tell you because it's the most painful thing that ever happened to me, and I wasn't ready to share it yet. When were you going to be ready? I demanded. After we bonded? After I fell completely in love with you? Ryu's eyes widened. You love me. I hadn't meant to say it like that, but it was out now. Yes, I admitted. I love you, and that's why this hurts so much. I thought we had complete honesty between us. We do, Ryu insisted. Kai, I was going to tell you. I was waiting for the right moment. This isn't something you just drop in casual conversation. You've had 3 months, I said. And you waited how long to tell me you love me? Ryu shot back. Then he softened. I'm sorry. That wasn't fair. You're right. I should have told you sooner. But I was scared. Scared you'd look at me differently. Scared you'd blame me like I blame myself. Blame you for what? I asked. For not saving him, Ryu said, his voice breaking. For not seeing the signs. For not being enough to make him want to stay alive. My anger melted away. I saw the pain in Ryu's eyes, the guilt he carried every day. Ryu. I found him in our bathtub. Ryu continued, tears streaming down his face. He left a note saying he loved me but couldn't fight anymore. And for 2 years, I've wondered what I could have done differently. How I failed him. I pulled Ryu into my arms. You didn't fail him. You loved him. Sometimes that's all you can do. We held each other and cried. For Hiro. For all the pain and loss we'd both experienced. For the fear and doubt that had almost torn us apart. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, Ryu whispered. I should have trusted you with this. I'm sorry I doubted you, I said. I let my fear control me. We sat on his couch, still holding each other. There was so much more to say, so much to work through. But in that moment we had each other and that was enough. After our fight, things changed between Ryu and me. Not in a bad way but in a deeper way. We were more honest, more vulnerable with each other. He told me everything about Hiro, about their relationship, about the guilt he still carried. I told him about my fears, about how Marcus's betrayal had left scars I was still healing. I think we should see a counselor, Ryu suggested one evening, together, to work through these things properly. I agreed and we started seeing Dr. Tanaka, a beta therapist who specialized in omega-alpha relationships. She helped us communicate better, understand each other's triggers, and build trust. Trust isn't built in grand gestures. Dr. Tanaka explained during one session. It's built in small, consistent actions over time. Ryu proved this every day. He called when he said he would. He showed up when he promised. He was patient when my anxiety flared up. And slowly, my walls came down. I also had to face Marcus one more time. He'd left dozens of messages apologizing for telling me about Hiro's death. He claimed he was trying to protect me, but we both knew he was trying to sabotage my relationship. I agreed to meet him at a neutral location, with June present for support. Marcus, I said when we sat down, I'm going to say this once, and then I never want to hear from you again. Marcus nodded, looking nervous. What you did, telling me about Ryu's past like that, was manipulative and cruel. You weren't trying to protect me. You were trying to break us up because you're jealous and can't accept that I'm happy without you. Kai, I'm not finished, I interrupted. You had your chance with me. You threw it away. And now you need to move on. Stop calling. Stop showing up in my life. I've forgiven you for what happened, but that doesn't mean I want you in my life. We're done, Marcus. Truly done. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. I know I messed up. I know I don't deserve another chance. But I can't stop loving you. That's not my problem anymore, I said firmly. You need to love yourself enough to let me go. I stood up and walked away, feeling lighter than I had in months. June caught up with me outside. I'm proud of you, he said, squeezing my shoulder. That took real strength. Thanks for being here, I said. I couldn't have done it without you. That night, I went to Ryu's place and told him everything. He listened quietly, then pulled me close. How do you feel? He asked. Free, I admitted. Like I finally closed that door completely. Good, Ryu said. Because I want to ask you something. My heart started racing. What? Ryu took both my hands. Move in with me. I know it's a big step and we don't have to rush. But I want to wake up next to you every day. I want to build a life with you. What do you think? I thought about my small apartment, the space I'd claimed as my own. It was important to me, a symbol of my independence. But Ryu wasn't asking me to give that up. He was asking me to share something new with him. Yes, I said. I want that too. Ryu's face lit up, and he kissed me. It was soft and sweet and full of promise. Moving in together was an adventure. We had to compromise on everything from furniture to bathroom routines. Ryu was neat and organized. I was more chaotic. He liked waking up early. I preferred sleeping in. But we made it work. This is your space too, Ryu reminded me when I hesitated to rearrange things. I want you to feel at home here. So I added my touches. Plants in the living room, colorful throw pillows, my artwork on the walls. Slowly, the apartment became ours, not just his. My family took longer to accept our relationship. My mother still brought up Marcus occasionally, suggesting we could have worked things out. But my father surprised me. I was wrong, he said one day when we met for lunch. I pressured you to think about the family instead of your happiness. I'm sorry, son. If Ryu makes you happy, that's all that matters. I hugged my father, feeling years of tension ease. Thank you, Dad. That means everything. My mother came around too, especially after meeting Ryu. He won her over by remembering her favorite flowers and asking about her garden. By the end of dinner, she was smiling and telling him embarrassing stories about my childhood. I like him, she whispered to me as we cleaned up. He has kind eyes. 6 months after moving in together, Ryu and I visited Hiro's grave. It was something Ryu did every month, and he wanted me there this time. We stood in front of the simple stone marker while Ryu placed fresh flowers. Hiro, Ryu said softly, I want you to meet Kai. He's very special to me. I think you would have liked him. You always told me I needed someone who would challenge me and make me laugh. Kai does both. I felt tears in my eyes. Hi, Hiro. I promised to take care of him, and I'm grateful for the time you two had together. It made Ryu who he is today. Ryu squeezed my hand, and we stood there in silence. It wasn't sad, exactly. It was peaceful, a way of honoring the past while moving forward. That evening, back at our apartment, Ryu seemed thoughtful. What are you thinking about? I asked. I'm thinking about how lucky I am, Ryu said. I lost someone I loved, and I thought I'd never feel whole again. But you came into my life and showed me that healing is possible. That loving again is possible. You did the same for me, I said. After Marcus, I thought I'd never trust anyone again. But you proved me wrong. Ryu pulled me close. I love you, Kai. I know we haven't talked about official bonding yet, but I want you to know that I'm all in. Completely committed. You're it for me. I love you too, I said. And when we're ready, when the time is right, I want to make it official. No rush, Ryu said. We have all the time in the world. We spent the rest of the evening cooking dinner together, laughing over Ryu's attempt to make pancakes. They turned out more like crispy discs than fluffy cakes. This was happiness, I realized. Not some grand romantic gesture, but this comfortable, easy love. My phone buzzed with a message from June. Double date this weekend? I'm bringing someone. I showed it to Ryu, who grinned. June's finally dating again? About time. I know, right? I laughed. He's been so focused on taking care of me, he forgot about himself. As we planned our double date, I felt grateful for everything that had led me here. The pain, the betrayal, the healing, all of it had brought me to this moment. To this home, this love, this life. I thought back to my wedding day, to watching Marcus with Liam. At the time, it felt like my world was ending. But really, it was just beginning. Sometimes the worst day of your life leads you to the best thing that ever happened to you. And for me, that best thing was Ryu. 1 year later, I stood in front of a mirror in a white suit. But this time, everything was different. This time, I wasn't afraid. This time, I knew exactly who was waiting for me. You ready? June asked, adjusting my tie. He was my best man, naturally. More than ready, I said, and meant it. The ceremony was small, just close friends and family. We held it in a garden, the same park where Ryu and I had first really talked. The sun was shining, and everything felt right. When the music started, I walked down the aisle. And there was Ryu, looking handsome in a dark blue suit, his silver hair catching the sunlight. His eyes were full of love and promise. My parents sat in the front row, both of them smiling. My mother was crying happy tears. My father gave me a thumbs up. The ceremony was simple but beautiful. We'd written our own vows. Kai, Ryu said when it was his turn. 1.5 years ago, I was convinced I'd never love again. I thought my heart was too broken. But then I met you, and you showed me that broken hearts can heal. You showed me that it's okay to be scared, as long as you're brave enough to try anyway. I promise to be honest with you always, to support your dreams, to hold you when you're sad and laugh with you when you're happy. I promise to be your partner in everything, for all the days of my life. I had to wipe my eyes before I could speak. Ryu, you came into my life when I needed you most. You taught me that love doesn't have to be complicated or painful. You showed me what real partnership looks like. I promise to trust you, even when my fears try to take over. I promise to be patient and kind. I promise to choose you every single day for the rest of our lives. When we exchanged rings and the officiant pronounced us bonded, Ryu kissed me softly. Everyone cheered, and I felt like my heart might burst from happiness. The reception was full of laughter and joy. June gave a hilarious speech about how he'd known we were meant for each other from the first coffee date. My mother welcomed Ryu into the family officially. Even Ryu's family, who had flown in from Tokyo, celebrated with us warmly. "I'm sorry we doubted you at first," Ryu's mother said to me quietly. "But I see now how happy you make my son. Thank you for loving him. Thank you for raising someone so wonderful," I replied. Later, as Ryu and I danced our first dance as bonded partners, he whispered in my ear, "Do you remember the day we met in the cafe?" "How could I forget?" I said. "I was a mess." "You were beautiful," Ryu corrected. "Sad, but beautiful. And something in me knew, even then, that you were going to change my life." "We changed each other's lives," I said. "That's what makes it so special." Toward the end of the reception, I noticed someone standing at the edge of the garden. My heart skipped a beat when I recognized Marcus. He was watching from a distance, not intruding, just observing. "I'll handle it," Ryu said, noticing where I was looking. But I shook my head. "No, I will. I need to." I walked over to where Marcus stood. He looked different again, healthier than the last time I'd seen him. "Marcus," I said, "what are you doing here?" "I know I shouldn't have come," Marcus said quickly. I needed to see for myself that you're happy. And you are. I can see it in your eyes." "I am happy," I confirmed. "Very happy." "I'm glad," Marcus said, and he sounded genuine. "I'm seeing a therapist now, working through my issues. I realized I had a lot of growing up to do." "That's good," I said. "I'm glad you're getting help." "Kai, I need you to know something," Marcus said. "What happened between us, it taught me a valuable lesson. You can't love someone properly if you don't love yourself first. I didn't love myself, so I kept making terrible choices. But I'm working on it now." "I appreciate you telling me that," I said. "And I hope you find happiness, Marcus. I really do. But this is the last time we can have a conversation like this. I'm married now. I'm committed to Ryu. And I need you to respect that by staying out of my life." Marcus nodded. "I understand. I'll go now. Congratulations, Kai. You deserve all the happiness in the world." He walked away, and I felt a sense of finality. That chapter was truly, completely closed. I returned to the reception where Ryu was waiting. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Perfect," I said, taking his hand. "Everything is perfect." As the sun set and lanterns lit up the garden, Ryu and I stood together, watching our friends and family celebrate. June was dancing with his boyfriend. My parents were laughing with Ryu's parents. Everything felt complete. "What are you thinking about?" Ryu asked. "I'm thinking about my first wedding day," I admitted. "How I watched my fiancé with someone else and thought my life was over. And now," Ryu prompted. "Now I'm grateful," I said. "Because if that hadn't happened, I never would have found you. I never would have learned what real love feels like." Ryu pulled me close. "Do you believe in fate?" "I didn't used to," I said. "But after everything we've been through, how we found each other at exactly the right time, I think I do now. I think we were meant to find each other." "So do I," Ryu said softly. Later, as we left the reception to start our honeymoon, I looked back at the garden one last time. 1.5 years ago, this park was where I started healing, where I met someone who would become my whole world, where I learned that endings can lead to beautiful beginnings. Ready to go? Ryu asked, holding out his hand. I took it without hesitation. Ready. As we drove away, I thought about how far I'd come. From the broken, hurt person I was on that terrible wedding day to the happy, loved person I was now. Life had a funny way of working out. Sometimes you had to lose everything to find what you were really meant to have. Sometimes the worst betrayal led you to the greatest love. Sometimes the person you thought was your forever was actually just teaching you what you didn't want, preparing you for the person who was truly right for you. I looked at Ryu, my husband, my partner, my love. He caught me staring and smiled. What? He asked. Nothing, I said. Just admiring how handsome you are. Smooth talker, Ryu teased. That's why I married you. And here I thought it was my amazing design skills. I joked. We laughed together, and I felt so light and free. This was what love was supposed to feel like. Easy, comfortable, safe, exciting, all at once. Our honeymoon was 2 weeks in a beach town, just the two of us. No schedules, no responsibilities, just time to be together. We spent our days swimming, eating fresh seafood, and talking about everything and nothing. On our last night there, we sat on the beach watching the sunset. Ryu had his arm around me, and I leaned into his warmth. I want to tell you something, Ryu said. I visited Hiro's grave before the wedding, to tell him about you, about us, and I felt this sense of peace, like he was giving us his blessing. I'm sure he was, I said. He loved you. He'd want you to be happy. I think he'd really like you, Ryu said. You're both strong in quiet ways, both kind and creative. I wish I could have met him, I said honestly. Me too, Ryu said. But I think in a way, loving him prepared me to love you better. His death taught me not to take anything for granted, to be honest and open, to fight for what matters. Then I'm grateful to him, I said, for helping shape the man I love. We sat in comfortable silence as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. It was the end of one day and the beginning of another, just like our life together. Kai, Ryu said. Thank you. For what? For taking a chance on me, for trusting me after everything you'd been through, for being brave enough to love again. Thank you for being worth it, I replied. We kissed as the stars started appearing in the darkening sky. Everything felt right, everything felt perfect, and I knew with absolute certainty that this was exactly where I was meant to be. Back home, life returned to normal, but a better normal. We both went back to work, fell into comfortable routines. I finally opened my own small design studio, something I'd always dreamed of. Ryu supported me completely, even helping me design the logo. You're going to be amazing, he said when I expressed my nervousness about starting my own business. And you know what? My studio grew slowly but steadily, and I loved the freedom of being my own boss. June and his boyfriend got engaged, and I was honored when June asked me to be his best man. You stood by me through everything, I told him. Of course I'll be there for your big day. One evening, 6 months after our wedding, Ryu and I were cooking dinner together when he brought up an idea. What would you think about adopting? He asked casually, but I could hear the hope in his voice. I stopped chopping vegetables and looked at him. A child? Maybe. Or we could start with fostering, Ryu said. I've been thinking about family, about our future, and I'd love to be a parent someday. With you. My heart swelled. I'd love that too. Let's look into fostering programs. 3 months later, we became foster parents to a 7-year-old Omega boy named Yuki. He'd been through multiple foster homes and was wary of adults, but something about Ryu's gentle nature and my patient approach helped him slowly open up. You're not going to send me away? Yuki asked one night at dinner, his voice small. Never, Ryu said firmly. You're part of our family now. Forever, Yuki asked. For as long as you want to be, I promised. Watching Ryu with Yuki made me fall in love with him all over again. He was patient and kind, always listening to Yuki's concerns and fears. Together, we created a safe, loving home for a child who desperately needed one. On the 2-year anniversary of meeting Ryu in the park, I woke up to find him already awake, watching me with soft eyes. "Good morning," I mumbled. "Good morning," he said. "Do you know what day it is?" "How could I forget?" I said. 2 years ago, I was sitting on a park bench, heartbroken and lost, and you sat down next to me. "Best decision I ever made," Ryu said. "Second best," I corrected. "The best decision was asking me to move in with you." "Actually," Ryu said with a grin, "the best decision was marrying you. We could have debated it all morning." But Yuki burst into the room, jumping onto the bed. "Dad, Papa, it's Saturday. You promised we'd go to the aquarium." "We did promise," Ryu laughed, ruffling Yuki's hair. As we got ready for our family outing, I caught my reflection in the mirror. I looked different from the person I was 2 years ago. Happier, more confident, more complete. But I wasn't complete because of Ryu or Yuki, though they added so much to my life. I was complete because I'd learned to be complete on my own first. I'd healed. I'd grown. And then I'd found people who complemented that wholeness rather than trying to fill a void. That night, after Yuki was asleep, Ryu and I sat on our balcony under the stars. "Do you ever think about that day?" Ryu asked. "Your original wedding day?" "Sometimes," I admitted, "but not with sadness anymore. I think about how everything had to happen exactly that way to lead me here. To you, to us, to this life. I think about finding Hiro," Ryu said quietly. "The worst day of my life. But it led me to you eventually. I'd never wish for it to happen differently, because then I wouldn't have this. We've both been through so much," I said. "But we came out stronger. Together," Ryu added, taking my hand. "Together," I agreed. And as we sat there, hand in hand, I realized that this was the happy ending I never knew I needed. Not perfect, because life is never perfect, but real, honest, full of love and hope and possibility. My wedding day, the first one, was supposed to be the best day of my life. Instead, it was the beginning of something even better. It was the first step on a journey that led me to real love, true partnership, and a family I chose for myself. Sometimes the best things in life come from the worst moments. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find what really matters. And sometimes, the person you're meant to be with is waiting for you on a park bench, ready to help you heal and grow and love again. This is my story. From heartbreak to healing. From betrayal to belonging. From that terrible wedding day to this beautiful life. And I wouldn't change a thing.